Welcome to another Behind the Shield podcast. I'm your host, Gary Daemer, and our co-host today is
Chad Spears, Director of Security Operations here at Infusion Points.
Awesome. Today, we're actually going to talk about FedRAMP 20x and what does it mean to kind of go from pilot to, say, production, and how does that actually look in our arrangement that we have today with our 20x KSIs, from low to high. But first, let's talk a little bit about how we are going to be shifting from the FedRAMP low 20x perspective to the FedRAMP moderate perspective 20x.
Yeah, so I think like the big thing, Gary, is FedRAMP 20x when it first came out, right? Although I say this a lot, right? You've heard me say this, that we've been 20Xing for a long time.
Yeah.
It still was just that. It was kind of the pilot, right? And we were proving not only to ourselves, but I think really to everybody else that, hey, this can be done, okay? And so, with that, there was some trial and error, right?
Right.
Hey, how can we take these KSIs, or even what are KSIs, because they kind of came out of nowhere, right? We were used to working in the control families, and now we have KSIs, and getting familiar with those, but then proving with those that, yeah, we can pull the information that's being requested or being asked of. We can pull it out of the environments, pull it automatically, pull it securely, and pull it in a manner that you can trust it, right? And that was kind of the big thing, right? And so it was this pilot. I remember, sitting down with the 3PAO, our partners there, and being like, hey, let us show you the back end and how we're doing this, right? Because you had to build a level of trust as well that what we were pulling and what we were providing could be trusted. And so, again, just kind of overall, the whole phase one thing was just that. It was a pilot.
Right.
And I think we're past that, though.
And moving into phase two, not only are they more KSIs and more checks, but I think they've also changed from, all right, let me just check to make sure that thing is there, but also going to the kind of the how well or how effective is that control, being put in place.
Yeah, I mean, it's like the difference in saying, yeah, I've got security groups.
Right.
Okay, but are they blocking anything?
Exactly.
All right. Or, and you're exactly right. They're diving a little deeper now. And I love the approach, right?
Yep.
So they are allowing us to kind of, I always use the analogy, the crawl, walk, run piece, right? And so I think we're to that point where we're maturing and we're walking now a little bit. You can definitely tell we're getting ready to run, though, for sure.
You can feel it,
Yeah.
right?
Oh, yeah.
So there's about 10 or so folks in the phase two
Yes.
pilot. How do you feel, in this? All right, we're kind of chugging our way through, making sure that we're proving that we are doing what we said we were doing inside of the KSIs.
Yeah.
But how does that kind of turn into kind of moving into the agency world?
Yeah. So, I mean, with phase two, I think that's definitely one of the things we're hearing, and we've continued to hear that, right? Even when we were at the FedRAMP Day and doing some presentations and things there, this is all well and good, but we've got to prove to the agencies that it can be trusted and it can be done, and it's really creating that solid relationship with the agencies. And so I think even in that, right, one of the very simple things that we added in phase two is the explanation piece in our KSIs, right? So, hey, yeah, we were able to pull this data, but let me now explain to you why, based on our XBU40 platform, that you can trust this and why this meets the spirit of the KSI. And so, that in itself provides that level of trust and should help the agencies that are looking to adopt this say, okay, yeah, that I trust that.
Right.
So I think it's definitely
and not only the explanations, but it really is then each of those KSIs, the validations inside those KSIs, and what we call the checks, which is actually the next level down, are being evaluated by the 3PAO as well.
Yeah,
right?
yeah, exactly.
So,
yeah, they're going through each one of those, the 3PAO that is, and not only reviewing the evidence. Evidence is great, right? Is needed, but then they want to know how you're pulling said evidence. Right. So. I really like the approach, the fact that in the manner that they're wanting you to leverage those native tools, which we were already accustomed to doing, because it ensures that nothing can be swept under the rug.
Correct. Yes.
And that's the whole ultimate. I mean, that's
Because
the
that
ultimate
metadata
goal.
is always there anyway, right? You can't go against what's already being proven by the data that's being produced by the services
Yeah.
in the cloud data world.
Yeah,
right?
exactly. I mean, if I query config, at the simplest form and say, hey, bring me back an inventory of all the instances running, I'm not going to be able to be like, oh, that one's not there.
Right,
It's
right.
just it's raw output
Right.
from that. So
Because it measures it in real time, which is really cool. So you can get that real time perspective of compliance and security
Yeah.
inside the environment.
yeah, and you said something there that I don't want to chase this rabbit, but it hopped up, so we might as well go after it. Continuous,
Yes.
right? Love the approach that they're taking there, right? So I mean, if you think back to the old traditional way, I'm calling it the old way, but it's
Point in time audits and screen captures, right?
yeah, and so I guess we can go ahead and call it old
Yeah.
and put it out to pasture now.
Well,
but
unfortunately, we still have
well,
to support.
we
a lot of
understand we
our-
got the IL5s
Not
and
unfortunately,
stuff,
but fortunately, we have to support our Rev 5 customers and our DoD, IL4 and 5 customers as well.
very
so we
true.
still have to be attuned to that.
Very much so, but I do think from what we're hearing and what we're seeing that hey, there's a path. There's a path forward.
Yep. Mhm.
But even in that, right, looking at those audits again, it was the point in time, and going back to the agencies, right? Yeah, you could trust that point in time right then and there, but what does it look like the rest of the time?
Right.
We've said that over and over again, and so now they're actually throwing this word continuously into phase 2 here, which is really exciting because we were already thinking that direction.
What's the word? It actually starts with a P. Persistent.
Persistent, yeah,
Persistent. That's what it is.
Yeah, for sure. And again, coming from the SecOps world, I love the fact that we're checking it continuously, right? Whatever time period you want to put around that, whether it's real time or every day, every week, I don't care. Because you don't know how many incidents that I know that my guys have responded to where it's that one little configuration change from an administrator because they were troubleshooting something or testing something within the live environment. And by the way, we don't recommend that.
Right.
But it happens, right? And nobody ever finds that security group rule that they put in until it's too late, right? Now, if something changes within these KSIs, because we're consistently checking these things.
We have a baseline established, right?
Yeah.
You have that baseline established.
Exactly.
And if something changes in the environment, you can create a ticket right away or an alarm right away.
You start working
and
the problem.
You start working the problem.
Yes.
It's a lot easier to service that set of issues
Yes.
than it was before.
Yes.
So-
And with that, let's think about it now from the agency perspective, right? With that, I now have a deeper level of trust because I'm seeing it checked continuously, right? Hey, yeah, you proved to me yesterday that the environment was good to go. Not only did you prove it to me yesterday, you just proved it to me this morning, right?
Correct.
Or I can go in and run it on my own,
Right.
and now I just proved it to myself that nothing has changed within the environment. We're still secure.
Correct.
So-
Especially if you look at the hashes on the Lambdas, you can tell they haven't changed as well. And,
Yes.
and it makes it very, very tight as a kind of auditing platform.
For sure,
Audit
for sure.
Shield is kind of what we started out with the name of it, but
For sure.
we're really, really trying to lean into that kind of fast auditing perspective.
Right.
I think that's one of the things that we're going to really gain out of this is the faster audit timelines as well.
Yeah.
I'm not sure though, if that is the really important thing. The really important thing is to get that cloud service provider to the end user faster.
Yeah.
Right. So what you want to be able to do, and before when we used to do this, we tried to compress that time, whether it was the building, and engineering the solutions that our customers would use, and it was trying to get the auditors to go as fast as they can because they've seen 20 of these things of ours anyway,
Right.
out there in the real world. So they look at it and say, oh yeah, I remember this. So let's get the evidence from this real quick. And I know that you've done that, and we're building, on that. So we kept compressing as much of that time as possible. And the FedRAMP PMO has also, been able to compress that review time faster and faster and faster as well. With all this being machine readable, I mean, what does that do now for the agency reviews and then the PMO reviews as well?
Yeah, you're exactly right. And that's so machine readable being the buzzword there, right? We continually hear that. And I think at some point, they've not come out and specified, hey, us and the engineers were talking about this. They've not come out and specified, hey, look, it's got to be machine readable and it's got to be in this format or anything like that, right? They're allowing you to be allowing you to freestyle that as long as
I love that, because
I do too.
because you can develop a tool, that can read that API interface,
yes,
and then be able to integrate that machine readable format pretty rapidly, and then
Yes.
build a parser to be able to parse it pretty quickly as well.
Again, as long as it's formatted text,
As long as it's formatted text,
we can do so many different things with it. But again, that's then going to allow the 3 PAOs to consume said machine readable, right? And maybe run it through something that they've developed, to allow them to be faster in the audit process, right? And I think that's kind of the overall thing that we're seeing with 20X. I know when it came out, it was faster to market, make it easier, and really open it up for more people and more organizations out there to be able to
I
play
think
ball.
what it also does is that PMO side and the agency side, it really can enable them to go faster as well.
Yeah.
And if you remember one of the proof of concepts that we did last year, which was the ATO monitoring perspective.
Yes.
So now agencies not only can look at our evidence, from our solution set, they can also look at every other vendor as long as they are 20X and they have the KSIs. They could actually look at them and see a dashboard of all of the solutions that they have, and see where they are from a compliance perspective, which then turns around and says this is how secure or how much rigor they have in the process, and are they really maintaining that. So that ATO monitoring piece, I think, is going to be a really big advantage. You
For sure.
look on your screen and say, oh, look at all these, they're all green all day long, but I haven't looked at it in 3 weeks, so I have no idea how it is. But you can go back in history too, and then look at it from a history perspective and say, I can see these guys were trending low for a couple of weeks. Why was that? Let me get them on the horn and let's go talk that through. I can see that their MFA is not working right, or I can see that X, Y, or Z is not working right, and it could be just a failure, of the solution, and not actually a failure of the system. So I think it allows you to point at things much faster. So I think this is going to speed not only the speed to getting the CSP solution in the customer's hands, but I think it's going to speed remediation, faster as well.
Very, very much so. And isn't it funny though? So phase 1, we introduced the ATO monitoring piece into our XP40 and Command Center product suite there. But then coming into phase 2, they now have this requirement of the trust center.
Yes.
And the public facing piece, right?
Mm-hmm.
And it's to prove exactly what you were just talking about, right? So imagine a world, agencies that are out there possibly listening, imagine a world where you have all that machine readable output in one central pane of glass. You can take and look at all of your ATOs in one pane, like Gary was talking about. And not only that, the folks that are consuming the products, whether it's an agency or somebody that's looking to consume the product, can go out there and say, hey, what's this environment look like? What's the status of it? And so that's what we're providing.
Give you a snapshot pretty quickly of how they're maintaining their security in the environment.
Yeah, exactly.
And then when you contract with them, then maybe you pull them into some kind of ATO monitoring piece, and you can see, and you can dive down into the deep dive into the evidence as well. So if you really want to dive into that level of detail, you can go all the way in and look at the evidence as well. So
yeah, I love it. Just one word to kind of cover all that right there. It's just transparency.
Yes, transparency.
That's
absolutely. And security is all about being transparent about what you do. Right?
Yeah, again, looking at it. Sorry, you that rabbit jumped up. I'm gonna hit it. In the SecOps world, we've been screaming that for a while, and it's become requirements, right? Even in the traditional FedRAMP incident responses, right? Hey, you've got to share IOCs. You got to share the sharing of data is what's going to allow each and every organization out there to be more secure, more compliant, and just better overall. And so again, transparency is key in our field that we're here. People that are out there, and that's one of the reasons we're even doing this podcast, right? We don't believe in gatekeeping information.
Nope. Mm-hmm.
And so we want to get it out there. We want the viewers to be informed. We want our customers to be informed. So that everybody can make the best business decisions moving forward.
Right.
So-
So I personally think, and it's gonna be a leap, but I personally think it'd be great to be able to see this also pulled into the individual agencies as
Oh, yeah.
well.
Oh, yeah.
So they could actually monitor the ATOs that are going on in their environment. So they're not having to review thousands and thousands of pages of paperwork, hundreds of thousands of pages of maybe even 1 million pages
Oh, yeah.
of system security plans and whatnot. That's a lot. That's a lot of
wonder how
time
many-
and effort.
I wonder how many bodies they have to just do that within the agency
Yeah,
itself.
I can't imagine. I know it has to be a lot, right? And think about what they could be spending their money on if they could streamline that process.
Yeah.
And after going through this for the last 7, 8, 9 months, it feels like.
Yeah.
I know that we can do it. I mean, we've been doing
Yeah.
FedRAMP for a dozen years for some of the hardest of the hards,
For sure.
and it really has allowed us to step back and take a different look at it.
Yeah.
Now, granted, we are bringing our perspective, right?
Mhm. Sure,
the
for sure.
3PAO perspective and the perspective from Rev 5,
Mm-hmm.
FedRAMP moderates and highs, and the DoD side of the house.
Yeah.
But I think that helps us. That gives us some real world insight, which will be able to get to the agencies faster.
Yeah, and it's interesting. You remember when 20X started, we had some conversations around, but let's talk about this if you're all right. I'm going to pivot us a little. So the approach that FedRAMP took with this, because it's kind of open, right? I mean, it's open forum. There was Git discussions out there or discussion boards in Git, right? And they were allowing you, they were just simply saying, hey, here it is, go solve it.
Yep.
Right. They didn't have any red tape saying you got to do this, you got to do that. They were like, bring a solution to the table.
Right.
And I think that in itself goes with what you were just discussing, right? It allowed us to take the experience we already had, the knowledge we already had on both aisles, right? The 3PAO side, but then also the engineering side, and the fact that we've been in this for so long, and allowed us to be kind of again, freestyle it, but bring in our perspective, bring in our solution to the table. But what I've also liked is the fact that we've seen others, what they've brought to the table as well, and their solutions, and we've looked at some of them and been like, that's pretty cool. We like that.
I would agree with that as well.
And so I think it's healthy the way that FedRAMP approached this and put it out there, and Pete and team was like, hey, bring some solutions. And now I think we're starting to see with phase 2, they're starting to kind of narrow it a little.
Right.
But I like that, right? Starting to choke it back down and say, okay, let's stay within these guidelines here.
Well, I think it's also to get people through the pilot. So let's prove that we can do it, right? And maybe get it out in front of some agencies. So let's prove that not only can they do it for themselves, but can they also then satisfy the agency requirements on this as well.
Yeah.
And everything that the PMO's done, it's been based off of NIST 853 Rev 5 anyway. So all those controls are loosely mapped, back to the NIST controls. So I think that's very helpful as well.
For sure. I mean, we find ourselves kind of crosswalking that a lot with our engineers, right? Let's go back to the NIST controls, right?
Yep.
Or the control families, and what were we providing there,
Right.
right? All right, and then it kind of helps.
And I think that's how we started,
Sure.
And then we leaned into a little bit harder and tried to stretch our brain a little bit.
Sure.
Because the way we provided evidence before may not has been as automated. We thought we were very automated.
Yeah.
But I think now we're even that much more automated, right?
Yeah. No, I mean, that's a great comment, because I mean, looking at some of the new KSIs for phase 2,
Right.
they're bringing in things that in the past, I mean, we would provide evidence for it, and we would definitely meet the spirit of the control. But man, I know looking at it now, like executive buy-in.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, how do you prove that from an automated stance, right? We have a solution for that and how we're doing that.
Mm-hmm.
But it's one of those things that I'm starting to see that they're looking at this from an overall business perspective as well.
Right.
Because so think of it this way, right? An organization that starts their FedRAMP journey out there, and they're pushing to get into the FedRAMP marketplace, they then get an ATO. Hey, you got agencies that are using this application. But if that organization or that business or that company's not financially sound, and they can't keep the environment running, well, what does that do for the agencies that's using the product?
Right.
It's a risk.
It used to be like almost like a checkbox requirement. Because
Yeah.
do you have enough staffing? Because I think it was in the readiness assessment or something like that. Do you have enough staffing in order to be able to do what you need to do?
Yeah. But I really appreciate the look that they're taking now from that business mind or that business side as
Right.
well. I think that's pretty cool.
Cool. Well, let me pivot big time here. Not really big time, but think about from a CSP perspective, right? So you have a lot of CSPs out there today, 450 plus now that have their ATO. You know, what should they be doing? Well, so let me even step it up. You know, who and what should they be looking at initially? You know, because is every CSP going to be ready to do this right after the pilot's finished?
No.
Right. So, you know, what's the ideal next set? And in our opinion, this is just an opinion.
Sure.
Right? What's the ideal next set of CSPs out there that could get out and step into the FedRAMP 20x perspective?
Yeah. So
I mean, besides our customers.
well, I was, I was obviously going to throw our customers out there first. No, I think it's really. So how about this? We have actually been contacted from individuals and companies out there that are like, "Hey, we're hearing a lot about this 20x thing."
Mm-hmm.
So I think the first thing is understand that 20x is here. It is a thing, right? And we're seeing great momentum with it. We're seeing great promise with it. And so those that already have their ear to the street and that are already starting to put it within their plans to say, "Hey, this is something we're going to pursue." I think that they're the ones that say let first in line, because again, it's understanding that this is a path and trusting the process. I think those that are already leveraging cloud solutions or cloud CSPs, and I'm going to bring our customers in, right? If you're leveraging our solutions, our cloud solutions, then we're already prepping you for the 20x path, and so that it's there for you, and then start partnering even with organizations like ourselves, if you're not already, that can help you along that way. But I think about those customers that are, I don't want to say limbo, but the ones that are like already FedRAMP in process. Like they've already started this path, but it's like, is 20x something you should be looking at?
Right.
Maybe because we have had a lot of customers that are like, "Hey, what's the fastest path I can take right now to get into the marketplace? I don't care at what level. Just want to get into the marketplace."
Right.
Well, hey, XPU 40 was designed specifically for you.
Right.
With that in mind, right? It is that speedy path. We have the infra. Come land in the environment and get your product out there. That's what it's there for. So
the folks who are using kind of cloud natives type solutions are probably the first
For sure.
first order. People who are using applications that are designed in a modern way probably are easier to look at as well.
Yeah.
But I mean, serverless and Kubernetes containers, all that kind of stuff can be built in pretty easily.
For sure.
Inventory, the whole CI/CD pipeline is pretty well known and pretty easy to check and pull the information in to make sure that you're meeting, the 20x requirements as well. Do you think that doing some kind of gap analysis or the 20x gap analysis or readiness assessment? I don't know the right word.
Sure.
For it, because is it really a gap or is it just how easy it is? How easy? Because there is some adjustment. Even for somebody like us who we thought we were extremely prepared for it, it has taken some engineering for us, as well.
For sure. And I think a quick look or something like that. Like you said, I don't know the verbiage to what to call it. Is it really a full gap assessment or is it the readiness assessment? Yeah, I think there is some investigative work that has to be done, and then what organizations should be looking at is look at the folks that went through the pilot successfully, I should say, right? The ones that are now in phase 2. And again, not tooting our own horn here, but I'm going to toot the Infusion Points horn. Again, we've been very successful in this, but partner with somebody that's successful that can help you understand, are you fit to go down this 20x path, right? Like you stated, cloud native, to me, I look at it and I'm like, that's almost an assumed, but there are organizations out there that do have FedRAMP environments that have some on-prem ties. And so that is going to be harder to pull this data leveraging cloud native solutions. Although we've been looking at it, right? How can we prove this even with an on-prem solution? It's one of the things that our engineers have thought about, and we've got roadmapped a little farther out. But yeah, I think those that are leveraging cloud native, as you stated, already pretty much accustomed to the modern infra world, are definitely suited to have that quick look assessment and say, okay, what's my roadmap look like to get down the 20x path?
Yeah. So, and leveraging some of the security tools that are already embedded. And we're an AWS shop.
Sure.
Yeah. And by the time this comes out, we'll hopefully have announced our AWS Premier status as well.
That's right.
That should be out this coming week as well. So I'm hoping that this doesn't go out before AWS Premier.
We'll make sure.
Notice, I'm sure. I'm sure that's going to go out sometime this week. But that's a huge achievement for us. But people who have done and been there, done that, and with AWS services as well.
Right.
So we love AWS config, guard duty, security hub, inspector. A lot of these built-in tools, that are security tools that we can leverage across multiple accounts. Allows us to pull that data in fairly easily and essentially manage them. For our customers as well. For customers who don't leverage those, making sure that their tools have APIs in them.
For sure. Yeah. If because not only does the infrastructure got to be checked against this, right? The applications as well then have to be checked against this. So having that API integration is almost a bare minimum. Like,
it's a non-starter. I think,
in
my opinion.
If I can't pull, if
you can't get data out of it,
if I can't pull data out of the environment, right, then we're gonna have a hard time working through this.
Exactly.
But yeah, for sure. And then there's another aspect of this as well. Is like, well, can organizations look to just do this themselves?
Right.
And with that, I would have to say, with enough manpower and enough time and money, sure. But I know we were just talking even before we started podcasting a little bit here that I kind of put this in the same boat of security operations, right? I mean, hey, organizations can stand up their own security operations centers out there. Right. Sure, you can do it. However, it's a heavy lift. Takes a lot of time, takes a lot of money, takes a lot of headcount as well.
Especially if you do it right, like with 3 shifts.
Sure. Yeah. I mean, we've got an entire
people
team.
Get sick on occasion.
Yeah, and I mean, 80% of it is just managing the people. Right.
Mm-hmm.
And so, to those organizations that are like, well, I may look to try to do this myself, I would say to them, make sure you budget for it. But not only that, why? When you already have organizations out there that this is what we're specializing in, we can help you save money within the business by simply leveraging a solution we've already developed or some other companies already developed. Right.
I think that's the key right there. Right. Do what you do best.
Yeah.
Right.
For sure.
And if you could build it in while you're doing that, then go for it.
Right.
But for the majority of people, focus on what you do best, whether it's building an AI tool or it's a new HR process or a financial management system or some kind of solution that needs to support the warfighter, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Focus on what you do best and then allow, folks like, us who are infrastructure providers or GRC tools, or what I really call it, the platform management tool, that ability to manage it from beginning to end with ticketing systems, with vulnerability management systems, all those things already pre-built, and all you got to do is plug in. Then that makes it so much easier as well.
Yeah, that's one of the things that we actually talk about with XP40. It allows the organizations to be mission focused. Right. We use that terminology, and that's exactly right. The mission is going to be different. Infusion Point's mission's different than our customer's mission. Right. Our customer's mission is to take the best product they have, whether it be an application or whatever it may be. I've got one that I'm thinking about in mind right now. It touches the warfighter, right? And ensuring that the warfighter is physically fit. I'll put it at that, right? So that's their mission. Let them drive that. We'll take care of all the other stuff that's then required, because our mission is keeping the customer secure and then providing them with this modern technology and following all the changes within FedRAMP.
Keep it up with all the changes.
Yeah, keeping up. Allow us to do that, and that's kind of what we pride ourselves on here in Infusion Points in doing for our customers.
And what kind of model was that? That's our build,
manage, defend.
Right.
And it's so crazy how that's morphed over the years since I've been here, even right.
Because it started out as build, test, defend,
build,
right?
test, defend, and then
Right.
test went away, and now we're actually managing.
It didn't go away. It just got absorbed into
Well,
defend. It got absorbed
Yeah,
into
we
defend.
still test. We'll still pen test the environments.
Exactly. It gets a bit integrated into the operation side.
Yeah.
And also then the build side as
Sure.
well. So,
Sure.
but it really is building and managing. A lot of this really is the managing aspects of it. It's
I was
keeping it
gonna
up. It's
say-
the rigor that you got to put into play every single day to maintain these systems as well.
That's one of the things, jumping back over to 20X phase 2, that's one of the things we're starting to see even in some of the KSIs, right? Is
Well, that whole word persistent, right?
yeah, exactly. the whole operational state of it as
Yep.
well. It's one thing that you've implemented this one time in the environment, but how are you keeping up? So Vader, for instance,
yep.
right? We had COM on before. Now we're switching over to vulnerability detection and response, right? And all those things. And so they're really taking an in-depth look on what's your patch management look like,
Right.
through the environment, and that is the management.
And how do you know that it worked?
Yeah, exactly. It's one thing to be like, yeah, we're patching. All right, we'll prove it.
Right.
Right. And hey, by the way, prove it continuously.
Correct.
And now show me historical data of that as well. And so it's one of the things, even within Command Center, loves what the guys have built with the historical trends and things of that nature, showing, when patch management kicked off. Hey,
If it failed,
if it failed,
what are you doing about the failures as well?
Yeah,
'Cause
exactly.
I hate to say it. Sometimes computer cloud services fail on occasion.
It
It's not
happens.
always their fault. It could be that EC2 what maybe wasn't available, or the container wasn't available, or whatever. But something fails on occasion.
Careful, we're still just a few days, but some Verizon viewers might be watching.
Yeah. Well, that's really weird. Is we did get impacted by that. That's a whole nother.
Yeah, I was
conversation.
going to say, I know some folks around this area didn't get hit, but
Yeah, but then I know some who did. So
Yeah,
it's really strange. Maybe it's because we were tied to our local wireless environment.
yeah,
So,
very true.
yeah. So, for me, it's all about system engineering. And it's really focusing on, what does it take to build that solution, from beginning to end, making things into bite-sized chunks, understanding the interconnection between those, how the data flows from one point to another.
Yep.
Yeah, how do you test it? How do you secure it? And it's really embedded in that full, system engineering life cycle.
Right.
Since the very beginning, I know you've heard me beat it into everybody's head here
Yeah.
at Fuse Points. This is all about systems engineering.
Yeah, for
you
sure.
know? So
Yeah, and that is one thing that has allowed us to, I'll say, make leaps and bounds, is because we already had that mindset, right? You go back to Accelerator, which was our first product we took to market with the intentions of helping customers accelerate
Right.
their ATO journey.
here again, compressing that whole timeline.
Yeah,
right?
timeline, right? Now we have XBU40 that was birthed out of that same infrastructure model,
Yep.
right? And that is our 20X platform as well. And so, yeah, we already had that engineer mindset, systems engineering. And so it's been really interesting through phase 2, especially for my team, right? Watching my team involve themselves in that engineering mindset now as well. Because they bring a little bit of a unique perspective, right? They see the security side of it. They know when something's secure, when something's not secure from a red team and even blue teaming perspective, right? And now we are engineering solutions and coding to prove that it is constantly secure, right?
Right.
And so it's been pretty cool to see that across the board here at Infusion Points, and everybody really, really doubling down on that systems engineering mindset.
Well, we've always had that look from a log perspective, but this is the first time we've actually been able to read the machine-readable, JSON files coming from all of the different aspects of security within inside of the system.
Yeah.
To be able to see those red, green kind of dashboard perspectives. you
Yeah.
know, So
I mean, we've always looked, and so imagine, here's where you found that you weren't meeting a security control, if you will,
Right.
It was from a log from a possible intruder coming in,
well, I mean, that's
right?
yeah,
It's
well,
after the fact.
Yeah. Or we alerted on some of them, and you wrote a ticket up it.
Yeah,
on
yeah,
it,
so-
and then somebody came back and they actually had to fix it.
But
and
it's
so forth,
still
so-
further down the line.
right.
What they've now done is bring that insight
Correct.
on up the line, right?
Yep.
And so red, green, yellow, as you mentioned, and proving it before it becomes a problem.
Correct.
And that's the ultimate goal. So
So, how do you view And this is something that you and I have talked about quite a bit. Is kind of the inheritance model for all this, and where we kind of see that going, or maybe where do we see where we'd like for it to go, and just focusing on what KSIs do the individual, say, SaaS providers have to provide versus, say, a full up PaaS provider.
Mhm.
Now we have XBU 40 that really helps
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
And the reason why we can
Mhm.
leverage that is because of the hardened aspect, the
Sure.
pre-hardened environment, the pre-hardened containers, the pre-hardened EC2
Mhm.
images, the CI/CD pipelines that we have in place already for those images as well.
Yeah.
And not only that, and that's all cool, but it's also the operational pieces that go along with it. The
Yes.
security operations piece is the cloud operations piece, making sure you're adding the right people,
Mhm.
into the right groups, based off of the role inside the environment.
Right.
Talk a little bit about, how you see that playing out for CSPs, and do you think that can also compress timelines for CSPs to get where they need to be?
For sure. I mean, you mentioned leveraging the fact that we already have a lot of this on the back end infra, right, within XBU 40. And I would go as far to say 85, 90% of
Yep.
that's
Not-
already
yeah.
already covered with our solution. But there's still going to be that other percentage, that small percentage there that's then going to rely upon the customer and their application, right? And so again, we work with them to prove that. But what's important about that other piece and that other model is the fact that it's already proven, right? So, with our XBU 40 environment, we've already taken this thing through
Right.
audit, and we already have customers that are successful in that, meaning they've got an ATO, they're operating, and so we know it works. And as far as the timeline goes, right, we have the solution to quickly deploy, a customer into that type of solution. And I mean, what's the timeline looking to deploy a full account within XBU 40? I mean, full week, couple weeks?
I'd say 2 weeks.
2
And
weeks.
most that's
Yeah.
dependent on expansion of queues.
Sure.
From an AWS perspective,
Right.
We like to give ourselves some time.
Yeah, I would say engineering though, right?
And
Hey, if we're
if an account is prime and ready to go, then it doesn't take long at all.
Yeah,
I mean, it's
exactly.
within days.
and so that's what I'm saying. So right, we're already talking about and looking at compressing that timeline and how we can compress that timeline, right? But if an organization had to stand this up from scratch,
Yeah, right. So that's the secure hosting aspect of it
Yeah.
too, right? With the command center, with the ticketing workflows, the
Yeah.
vulnerability management pieces that are in there already.
Yeah.
And guess what? The whole KSI perspective as well, it's already built in.
yeah,
And you plug your application into it, and then you can plug in to the 20x
20x.
pretty easily as well.
Yes.
So we're not like taking a sidecar perspective.
No.
But we can do that too, right?
We can allow you to pull up and park beside
Yeah,
us for sure.
Or we have an app, not an app, an appliance,
Appliance,
that we can put into.
Appliance forwarder, whatever you want to call, right?
Yep,
So if you've
yep.
got your own environment, we can then work with you to get that appliance/forwarder deployed.
Because every environment's going to have to be a bit custom.
Yeah,
because
exactly.
Everyone use slightly different things. If you put it into our XBU 40 environment, then it makes the things a lot easier because it's all pretty much canned, except for the small configurational changes we'll need to make for your specific application.
Yeah, and I know that's one thing that we've been discussing as well internally a little bit about, when we look at kind of go-to-market strategies and things of that nature, and it's really helping the customer understand things from that, those three options, if you will, right? The new account, the sidecar, or the forwarder piece, right? And what the timelines look like for each one of those, right? One is going to be a little longer than the other, and then the latter part there's going to be a little higher touch that'll have to happen as well.
Right.
But again, each of those was designed and developed with the ultimate goal to reduce the time
Correct.
to market.
Yep.
And so that's been our ultimate goal, even prior to 20x, was how can we help the customers take this to market quicker? Because we understand, again, going back to that business case, right, that their ultimate goal is to make money from this.
Yes.
And so,
The faster they can get there with the less amount of money, whether it's on the audit side or it's the the advisors or integrators who can help
Yeah.
them out is key.
What our statement we always say is their success is our success.
Right.
And so,
So let me shift topics a little bit as
Yeah.
well. And I know this is a topic of conversation here at Infusion Points all the time as well.
Yeah.
Is how do you feel today versus how you felt when we first started looking at this about the overall ecosystem for FedRAMP? Because in order to have anything truly work, you need to have a functioning ecosystem. People who understand how FedRAMP works. People who test to ensure that that you're meeting the controls and all that aspects. Making sure that there's a vibrant set of vendors out there who can provide the services required in order to meet the requirements coming out of the PMO or the requirements that are coming out of the individual agencies as well. How do you feel today versus how you felt, say, 6 to 9 months ago?
yeah. All right. Well, man, that's a tough one. That's getting deep. 6 to 9 months ago, I mean,
believe the day we were in here on that Sunday.
Well, I was going to say it was like, okay, well, here's the train. Do we board it or not?
Right.
I mean, that was the analogy we used. That was that's where we were at. We were kind of at a crossroads, even, right? It's man, this is different than anything else.
Yep.
This is not the steam engine that we're accustomed to jumping on. What's this thing? You're telling me it goes 700 miles an hour,
right?
And you're like, you jump on this train. And so, we met in here on a weekend and on a Sunday, and I remember the phone call very vividly. And it's like, guys, I don't know what we do here, but at the end of the day, we came back together on a Monday and we said, all right, here's the direction, all aboard.
Yeah.
And so with that, there was some excitement that came with that. But if I would be lying if I stated that we were cautiously optimistic, right? Now, though. And even in that, I think it came pretty early, at least for me, right? Because again, I stated we've been 20Xing for a long time.
Yep.
We loved the idea of like, man, you want to automate? No more screenshots?
Right.
Like, we've been trying to get there.
Especially when you go to 20 audits a year or so, right?
I mean,
so our guys are thoroughly enjoying not having to go
sure.
through the same questions over and over
For
again.
sure. I mean, I remember talking with, even my SecOps guys about this and the fact that they were like, you mean I don't have to sit through an audit and provide these screenshots anymore? I don't have to, manually run this command and show? It's like, no, we're going to try to automate all this, which we've been trying to get there as well. They were so excited about that. And so
they were so excited about it. We peeled half of your engineers off of your team. Yeah, they're helping to develop.
Exactly. They were that excited.
Right.
But yeah, so again, cautiously optimistic. I think very early on, I personally got really excited though at the promise of this. Right. I think, as we was just talking a little bit earlier, now seeing how the FedRAMP team has approached the pilot in phase 1, how they allowed us to bring a solution to the table, wasn't really giving us a whole lot of. They were giving some guardrails, right? But they weren't, bootstrapping us by any means or anything like that.
I love that word, bootstrap, by the way.
Yeah. So they weren't like they allowed us to be creative, right?
Right.
Now going into phase 2, I feel like I got one for you. I'm gonna y'all love my analogies out there on these podcasts, right? Remember going through basic training in the Marine Corps, right?
Sorry, I'm an Army guy.
Well,
sorry.
It's all right. Not everybody can be a Marine. But so phase 1, going in through basic training in the Marine Corps, you didn't get to blouse your boots, right? So blousing your boots, you tuck your pants up under, and it looks really sharp, right? You didn't get to blouse your boots. As a matter of fact, you didn't even get to wear boots. You had to wear tennis shoes, and you just looked kind of sloppy,
right?
But that was phase 1. Phase 2. They then allowed you to put your boots on, and you got to roll your pants, but you still didn't blouse them. Phase 3, you started blousing your boots. And so that analogy, right, is that like we're growing, we're maturing, and I think when it's all
that's kind of where Pete's going with the whole phase 3 aspect, right? He wants to get more cloud service providers in. He wants to get more agencies involved with how this thing looks and feels. So I think that is pretty cool.
When we get
I
there.
love that analogy, by the way. So when I went through basic training, sorry, we didn't have sneakers.
Oh,
So it was
man.
boots.
Yeah,
It was
that made you run in boots all the time?
Oh yeah, no,
No.
it was all boots all the time.
Thank
So
you, Marine Corps.
there you go.
But-
Well, I think everybody's in sneakers now. So
Yeah, no doubt. But yeah, listen, when we get there, phase 3 is going to be coming as well, I'm sure. I think they're calling it something else. What are they calling that?
just phase 3.
Phase 3, okay.
They just call it phase 3. Right?
Okay, but when we get there, I think it'll look pretty sharp.
I think so too.
Yeah,
I think
it's
so, too.
maturing.
I'm
for
ready
sure.
to dress my boots. How's that sound?
Ooh, I like that.
I'm ready to dress my boots.
What's that?
So
Hey, marketing team, get on that.
yeah.
It's time to dress the
and
boots.
it's the same thing for the 3 PAOs. Man, I think in the beginning, man, I think we were all worried about the 3 PAOs because we got lots of friends out there who are 3 PAOs
sure.
and they run companies that in this ecosystem around being a 3 PAO. But I think they still have a really good place in the future here for all this, whether it's a significant change notification. Or it's an audit, to prove that whatever KSI is running is actually doing what it says it does.
Yeah.
There's gonna be good space for them here as
Yeah,
well.
for
So,
sure. Again, I think that's one of the things that we've even seen working through phase 2, right? And we go out on a limb in stating that, a 3 PAOs, you have a future in this. And you're right. I think early on, 3 PAOs were kind of questioning, well, what is my life
where's
look?
this going,
Yeah,
man?
yeah. And there was some fear.
I've got all this bank of business here.
Right. My entire business is
portfolio.
built on this.
Yeah, right, exactly.
And now you're changing this.
Right.
And our partner's been great. And I think they said it best, right? It's going to change the way the 3 PAOs operate a little bit, right? They got to be a little more technical
Gotta be able to
because
read code, understand code.
it's checking the check
Yep.
and being able to do that. But they definitely have a future in this for sure. We're
and
seeing
I
that.
actually can see it growing, even more so, right?
Right.
Because think about having automated checking perspectives as well, and maybe they get an alert when somebody goes out of compliance. And I know I'm revealing a little bit about what we're working on right now as well.
Yeah.
So I'm going to leave the curtain right there. I'm not going to open it all the way up, but just think about the automatic checker of the checking. And be able to sign off on that perspective as well.
Almost.
And so not only are you getting the verification that the CSPs doing their job, but you're also going to get the verification that the 3 POs are doing their job as well.
Hey, 3 PAOs, get with us out there. We got a great business model for you.
There you go.
On this, because you're right. Going back to that continuously checking.
Yep.
Yeah. So
So
yeah,
who's
I think-
verifying the verifying? Who's watching the watchers? Kind of perspective.
Yeah,
So,
exactly.
one of the things I really like about what's going on right now is this is so close to our culture and how we do things.
Yeah, for sure.
The whole scrappy mindset, the mission focused, mission oriented, kind of perspective, entrepreneurial spirit, because I think there's a lot of entrepreneurial spirit, because entrepreneurial spirit isn't just about developing business, right?
Right.
It's also about being a little bit of free thinker about how you
Sure.
you try things out there in the marketplace as well.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, I was-
having that grit to hang in there with all this.
Yeah.
as well,
So I mean, even mentally, right? With you, right? Helping drive the business, and you and Jason, and in having this vision, right? But man, that grit comes into play when there's changes like this in the market. It's like where do we go? Let me take a pulse on things, and then there's a lot of some leaps of faith, I guess, that had to occur as well. But I can say this from being here at Infusion Points 7 years now, by the way.
That's crazy, man.
Yeah. So I can say this from being here at this this long and tenured, is that this is exactly what we're about.
It
right?
is. Yep.
We like to roll our sleeves up. We like to get dirty. Gritty is the word we use. Scrappy. We use those types of words here at Infusion Points. And looking at how we can almost do more with less, if that's an okay way to say it, right?
That's good. That's good. Yeah.
Because we want to help our customers be able to do that as well, right? And I'm not talking about bodies. I'm just talking about hey, like, listen, if instead of doing this manually, why can't we help you automate this, right? And so this whole process has really fit really well in our ecosystem as you talk.
Yeah. I think it really comes from, in my belief, is we're a privately held company.
Yeah.
We're bootstrapped.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah.
every dime that we make, we put back into the company. whether it's training people or it's investing into new technologies or new processes as well.
Right.
You're kind of a tech-enabled services company, I think is kind of what you could call us as well.
Yeah.
I truly think that people who are going to truly succeed in this market have that same kind of mindset, that scrappiness, that true grit to be able to make this stuff happen. Builders, people who have that builder mindset. I think if you said 20x, somebody should scream back, builder.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure.
So,
I think it's because you got something on the line.
you do,
right?
Oh yeah,
It's not. It's the investment of infusion points, right? And so we have no other choice but to be successful.
Yeah.
And so I think that's important as well. And that is what I love about infusion points and the culture here. And to all of our employees that are watching us, man, listen, hey, kudos to y'all, because everybody embodies that, right? They're like, yeah, I'm going to do whatever it takes to be successful. And everybody pushes and drives the mission forward. And that's part of our culture here. And I love it.
Yeah. So, final thoughts on where do you see this going next? What do you want to see next? Besides, kind of build it into our ecosystem and maybe make $1 or $2 and
sure. Yeah. But I think more than anything, look, I think we all understand that the success of this is really going to be that agency adoption piece.
Correct.
Right. And so I'm very, very curious to see where the next step takes us in that, and partnering with some agencies and working with them, to help them understand that look, number one, you can trust this process, but number two, let us help solve your business problems. So at the end of the day, they've got business problems. That's what it boils down to. Hey, got hundreds of ATOs I got to manage. Hey, let us bring a solution in that can help you do that.
Right.
And so that's where I'm hoping like the next step, right? Phase 3 is it's almost going hand in hand with the agencies, helping them fully adopt this. But then as well, it would be helping all our customers, potential and current customers, understand that 20x is a viable path.
Correct.
Right? Let us show you how we can land you in our 20x solution, XBU 40, coupled with Command Center, and how we can take you down that journey.
Correct. I think to me that's key, right? So the next phase of this thing really needs to be focused on, making sure that this ecosystem can continue to move forward, and that it's viable, and that not only can the service providers who are selling directly to the federal government can earn their investments back, but companies like ours can as well, right?
Yeah.
I think that's key. I would love to see FedRAMP High come into play.
Yeah,
I
for sure.
also like what Pete's doing as well, is not everything needs to be FedRAMP High.
Right.
Not everything needs to be DoD IL4, IL5.
Yeah, I think they're looking at that at a different lens now, a little bit, right? And helping people understand why that was even brought out in the first place. Of like, the justification needs to be looked at a little more. Yeah. So yeah, I mean, I'm excited to see where this goes. Phase 2 has been amazing, and continuing to be excited about the FedRAMP's mindset in this as they're peeling the curtains back a little bit more and more for us and showing us where they're going with this. Really excited about that, but definitely phase 3. It's like, okay, let's make this real for everybody.
Let's make it real for everybody. I think that should be the mantra, right? Let's make it real, and let's start getting some agencies involved and getting them to truly bite on this philosophy. Now I get that they need to have a few more organizations that have gone through the process.
Sure,
but the sooner I think we can get to that making it real perspective, from concept to operations, or maybe it's from concept to production, or it's from pilot to production. I think that's where we really need to get to in this next phase
for sure.
of efforts. In my opinion. So
for sure.
I think that was something that would drive a lot lot more excitement as well. I mean, I don't know about you, but I'm still excited about
for sure. I know the team's excited,
right.
And with that, right, taking it to production, I know our team's ready for that. Yeah. Whatever we can do to help make that a reality, we're here for it.
Well, Chad, as always, thank you for your time. This was a blast. We need to do it more often. Just have a conversation about what we feel and how we like to see this thing move forward.
For sure.
Let's hope the audience continues to enjoy these as well.
Yeah.
And as always, welcome. As always, now I'm going to do this again. I mess this up every single time, but that's okay.
Yeah.
As always, somebody will be behind the shield if it's not me, and helping you through these tough discussions. So, and
Awesome.
peace out.
All right.
Appreciate your time.
See you guys. I'm going to pour me a cup of 20X now.
There you go.